Hi, and welcome to Create, Automate, and Scale podcast. Tune in to this inspirational, straight to the point, relatable content for entrepreneurs to help you mastermind the everyday hassle, give you business tips, networking opportunities, shameless money talks, and scaling secrets. Created to support you, to support coaches and course creators just like you, to help you take action, stop trading dollars for hours, and explode your business. It's time to hit that six-figure and beyond. Let's go!
Hey, so happy you are here. Hi, I'm Sophie Riley, and I'm your host. In this episode, we are going to talk burnout to breakthrough. Let's dive in.
I have the absolute privilege to interview the two hosts of the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast. Today here with me, I have Alex Lianne Carter, who is the founder and CEO of Ambition Unleashed, and Carol Register, the founder and CEO of Success Uniquely Yours. They are leaders of leaders, certified master neuro coaches, internationally known speaker, consultants, and success strategists with experience in business and education of over 40 plus years combined. So today we are going to talk about how you can go from feeling tired and burnt out to energized, productive, and get the results you are looking for. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having us, Sophie.
I am so excited to have this discussion today because I feel like though it's always a problem, in the last 2 years, our bodies alone, our mind, our physical being, our mental being have gone through too much. And we are not naturally taught how to break those cycles, how to take care of ourselves, and how to make sure that we don't go into a burnout. But the reality that we are in today is that the last 2 years has been stressful. And that's to put it nicely. But as highly ambitious being, we love to put extra on ourselves and create all of these goals, all of these big dreams without necessarily having the tools and the foundation to make them successful while also taking care of ourselves. So I'm really happy to have this discussion. First of all, let's talk about the burnout. Just like a basic, what is burnout? Because it's kind of a dirty word, right? For highly ambitious women, it is a dirty word.
Yeah.
Just to say that we are burnt out is, first of all, really hard to acknowledge that, right? So let's talk about the burnout. So I know, Alex, you've gone through a burnout yourself. So if you want to just maybe break it down for us.
Yeah, thanks, Sophie. So I do think it is really important that we start with acknowledging the burnout piece. And you're right. It's kind of like the elephant in the room when it comes to high performers and high achievers, because it makes you look weak. It makes you look that you're not a high performer. It makes you look unsuccessful, which is the last thing that a high performer wants to feel and experience, right? And I think it's really funny when I think about my burnout that I experienced in the fall of 2019, is that it took me months, even after the fact that I burnt out, to even acknowledge that I was burnt out because of how people would perceive me.
Yeah.
How it would affect my identity. And so I think it is really important to just be aware of some of the symptoms, some of the things that could happen that maybe are indicating that you might be heading down a path to burnout. And things to really look out for is exhaustion. Yeah. Sometimes it actually can be you either can't sleep because your mind is racing or your heart is racing, you're experiencing some anxiety. I literally woke up several times thinking I was having a heart attack when it was just an anxiety attack because of the stress and anxiety I was under. And then there's moments where you're so exhausted because your body is just at such a peak point of stress that you're sleeping all the time. And then it can go from the inability to make a decision, being unproductive, which, oh my goodness, how high performer cannot handle being unproductive.
The procrastination and the overwhelm come in. And, especially if you're a highly driven perfectionist, right? Then all of a sudden you're going, hey, wait a minute, I can't do this right. And so I can't really do it at all because it's just too much. It's too hard. It's like thinking that equating busyness with productivity. So we think just if I'm busy enough, if I hustle enough, if I work hard enough, I'm going to win. And
that feeling of the inability to take action, like the brain fog that you might experience as well. And that creates this pressure that you're now not doing enough, when in fact it's because you're going to feel it in your body before you're going to actually acknowledge and realize that it
affects your thyroid, your adrenals, your whole endocrine system. And our cells are literally absorbing all that stress.
I want to ask, because one of the big signs for me was really angry.
Mm-hmm.
Angry at everybody, angry at all the situation. And you go back home and you're like, what's my problem? Literally, was that an appropriate reaction? No, it's not.
It's a frustration. You end up getting frustrated with yourself because you are such a high performer, which tend to be a high producer, and you're not now able to think, act, and perform at the level that you usually are able to, which creates a frustration on yourself, the self beat up. And then you find yourself very short with the people around you, your loved ones, because you're functioning from a reactive state in your brain because of the type of stress that your body is under. You're unable to actually access the part of your brain that allows you to think and make decisions. You're constantly operating from this higher state of reactivity. And that's why a lot of times I'll speak into shifting from being reactive to proactive, because you are, like you said, Sophie, you're in a complete reactive state because you're unable to actually take a second to process. You're just kind of functioning at that because your body's at such a high state of stress and anxiety that, I think process.
Adding into that, a part of the neuro coaching work that Alex and I do is helping people to understand that an emotion fires within microseconds of a thought. So emotions are always driven by thoughts, but when your brain is hijacked by neurochemicals and is in this, it's the amygdala acting, it's in this state of fight or flight and sometimes freeze. When you're at a heightened state of burnout, that's when you literally don't have the ability to think logically. Your brain is hijacked. And so one of the things that we can address is some great pattern interrupts for that, because there are really good pattern interrupts so that you can become grounded again. You can release the emotion of anger or being short and start to think clearly and make decisions that are going to get you out of that state to the breakthrough state.
Okay, so now that we understand a little bit about the burnout, how can we get those long-lasting success?
Well, and Carol says a little bit earlier, it's getting to the source. That's why Carol and I both chose to study and become master certified neuro coaches, because we wanted to get to the source of what was causing the burnout, what was causing us not experiencing the results and creating the results that we knew we could create as high performers, but we knew that there was something blocking us. There was something keeping us stuck. That's where we get to go a little bit deeper and uncover in a variety of different areas of lives that people are feeling burnt out. For high performers, a lot of times it is success, but when we're feeling burnt, like how we show up in one area of our lives is how we show up in all areas of our lives. So if we're feeling burnt out in our businesses, then it's most likely affecting our relationships, our health, and our success. And so getting to that source and uncovering, going deeper and really understanding, well, what is it that you're after, right? Like, how do you define success? I think what happens, Sophie, is we see so many times a lot of entrepreneurs and even CEOs and men and women in corporate that they keep chasing, but they keep chasing the success. They keep chasing, well, once I make more money, I'll have more time, then I'll have more freedom. And so they keep chasing it. But I know with myself, and I think Carol, when you've spoken to some of your clients too, when we actually have conversations with them, and Sophie, I know you and I had this conversation before as well. It's like, well, what does that actually look like? Like, what does freedom look like? What does flexibility look like? Or whatever it looks like for you, what does it actually look like? And so having that clarity on your vision, which I know for some people, when we speak about that, they don't know what that really is for them, but just getting connected with what does your done success look like for you? Because I think as entrepreneurs, you're kind of going to know what you're going after. So really getting intimate with what that actually looks like so that you can stop chasing, because this idea of chase requires a lot of energy, and actually get clarity on it and then have a plan. Speaking of this a lot, like building your life and business by backwards by design. Once you know what it is that you want and you want to go after, you can then start making decisions and taking actions to create those results.
I love that, because one of the problems that entrepreneurs have is they chase the new trend, right?
Yeah.
How many people, well, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. But we never do anything long enough for it to actually have the success, because we haven't been consistent. It's just like the sales process. If you always change the way that you sell because maybe you were told no this one time and it hurt your feelings, well, you change. We never do anything long enough for it to actually bring success and for the success to compound, like that compound effect.
Yeah. Well, and what you said there too, Sophie, is about people get caught up in the doing and they lose sight of the intention. And they get caught in the mechanical piece of exactly what are they doing versus the vision. And they let what, like you said, they're like receiving a no, define who they are and define the success they're going to create. When you have clarity on your vision, you have clarity on what is it you want to create. I mean, Carol and I actually had this discussion yesterday. I think it was, we are noticing that we're getting caught up in the mechanics. I'm like, wait a second. When you're clear on your mission, your vision, and your values, that's the driver. That's the engine of your life. And so you have clarity on that, and that's going to help guide the way.
And that's really going back to identity. You know, when we look at things that are long-term successes, long-term wins, it's what we were talking about earlier, where it's not just about beliefs. Beliefs is everything surrounds beliefs, but those beliefs are built on a foundation of our values and who we are, how we identify ourselves. So when we talk about mission, vision, and values, we're really going to identity, and bringing out those identity pieces are so important, because most of us go through life, like Alex was referring to, by default, by reacting, with this idea that, oh, I just have to hustle and work hard and everything's going to work out okay. And the reality of that is it isn't living a life by intention. And when you start to turn living a life of default around to living a life of intention based on who you are, which your values and beliefs flow out of, that's when things get really exciting. That's when you get to create the reality that you want to create and truly lean into being that passionate, purposeful, productive being that we came to this earth as. We are creative beings. We just are by nature. And yet it seems like everything around us is squelching that down with this, you've got to hustle and you've got to take life as it's thrown at you. Going back to those foundational pieces is the exciting part, and combining that with the quick wins as well. And then again, it just gets exponential and exciting.
I know that you are both hosting a really epic event that's happening on the 7th of June called Burnout to Breakthrough. Now, I'd love to ask, what are the types of breakthrough that people can expect from attending this free event?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I'd say productivity, number one. Right?
And we want to really, like, what Carol and I are most passionate about is really standing for the transformation. So it's not about, I mean, yes, there's the balance between having the quick wins, but really getting to the source and helping you really neutralize burnout so that you're not on this roller coaster of go, 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 crash, go, 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 crash. Like really being able to neutralize the burnout, setting yourself up for success, setting yourself up for long-term success and longevity. So just like you said, Sophie, you're not feeling like you are, well, not sticking to it, right? Feeling empowered, having that confidence and owning your worth and being able to, truly step into your gifts and your talents and your passions to be able to be who you get to be And ultimately, as are the name of our podcast, is being, unleashed and unstoppable.
I love that. Now, I just want to give props where props is due. I've known Alex for a long time. We were in the network marketing business way back when, before Alex first pivoted, and we started working together. So to give you an idea of my business before working with Alex was about, $2,000 a year. And then after working with Alex, after having a few one-on-one, and I want to say two maybe at the most, maybe one, my new business sort of started, and I made $6,000 in 2 weeks, 1 week. I don't remember the exact details, but it is epic. And then I went on to have my first 6-figure business in 8 months.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sophie.
The best part is that I work a whole lot less. It's crazy, right? I work a whole lot less. I'm very clear. I have my entire year plan. I'm extremely organized and I'm extremely happy, but I work less. I felt like I was working 24/7 and I had zero result. So clarity is, I don't know that we can put a price to it, but thank you. I don't even know how to put that into words, but the clarity that it brought is seriously epic.
You're welcome, Sophie. And that's what's really key. And that's why we're, the listeners out there, we're asking you to take some time to get really clear on what that success looks like for you, and really diving deep into what are your areas of expertise. What is your zone of genius? I think what we often see is that what becomes this hustle and grind is when entrepreneurs and CEOs find themselves in roles and responsibilities that just aren't aligned with who they are and their gifts. And so I know, working with Sophie and knowing her for the last 4 years, the moment she stepped into her zone of genius, the moment she owned her authority, the moment she owned her power, everything shifted. But it became that shift. It was that perspective shift of, again, all the things that she brought up believing. So when you apply the principles of wealth that Carol goes into, and applying those principles of productivity, and you have that shift and get to the source of what's causing the $2,000 a month and working all the time, then that allows you to be unleashed and unstoppable.
What I absolutely love about the both of you is that you don't tell people to just change your mindset. You actually show them how, because I have spent years being told, change your mindset. You just have to change your mindset. You don't have the right mindset. And I worked hard. I am a very hard worker. And that, with all honesty, pissed me off to no end. And it got me so frustrated. And it used to be a really big trigger, because what does that mean? I am motivated. I do want it. And it was very, very insulting. So what I absolutely love about the two of you is that you don't tell people to change their mindset. You let them know that it's literally not their fault. It's how they're wired, and you give them the tools to change that. So I do really appreciate both of you.
Thank you, Sophie. I think one of the things you brought out right now is the fact that, as Alex said, you're doing it unapologetically on your own terms. And that is huge, to be able to stop living everybody else's plan for your life and the culture's plan for you to live in this burnout state. We look around, a lot of people are living in this state, and to do it on your own terms, unapologetically, is so exciting to both of us, I know.
Well, and I think as we wrap up here, I want it, because you said it a couple of times. You said, I like getting results. I take action, and you talked about decisions. But here, this is the magical piece. You see, the decisions that we make and the actions that we take and the results that we create come from our thoughts and our beliefs. And so that's the operating system. And so I know that Carol and I, we don't really refer to ourselves as mindset coaches, because, based on our expertise, our research, our application of the work that we do, mindset is very surface level. Whereas the work that we do is actually getting to the source of what's underneath that. Sometimes, yes, you can reframe something definitely on a surface level, but it's really getting underneath it, what does it mean about you? And, how is that keeping you safe? Because our brains are wired to keep us in the safe and familiar. And so your brain is keeping you safe, having you work hard and having you do all these things. And And I think that was the big shift that you experienced, Sophie, was when we were able to get underneath what was keeping you safe and why your brain was keeping you safe, then that's when things completely shifted for you.
Yeah, it's really powerful to just understand as well that everything stems from that feeling, that emotion that you didn't even know you had, right? So everything stems from that. So understanding that is huge. Understanding how and why, the action that sort of happened, the mechanic of it, if you want, into the brain of how you make those decisions, definitely huge. Yes. So that's so amazing. Is there anything that you want to add before we wrap things up about the event? We are going to put the links into the show notes. So make sure you go grab the links to register to the Burnout to Breakthrough, as well as links to connect with Alex Lianne and Carol with some epic freebies. But anything else that you want to tell us before we wrap up?
I think there's just this one saying that actually both Caroline's mentor, Dr. Shannon Irvin, shared on one of her workshops. And I remember immediately messaging Sophie because I knew how much it affected me. And I know that this is a quote that she really enjoyed. It was like, don't change the goal, change your mind.
I love
that.
Don't
change the goal, change your mind, right? Getting underneath the belief system. And then that's the work that Carol and I do, is help shift the belief system so that's aligned with the success that you want to create.
I love that. That quote is actually on my wall because it's true. Every time you go through something, and if it's a goal that scares you a little bit, and do believe the goal there needs to be a little bit of excitement into your goals, but it's so easy to convince yourself to lower those goals as you prep for a launch, as you do something. It is so easy to talk yourself down, but that's the thing. You just talked yourself down for no reason aside the fact that maybe you were just a little bit scared. Maybe that's a little bit new. So that quote is on my wall.
I just want to add with our event that we are going to have 10 amazing experts. And these ladies do incredible work, people in this field about burnout to breakthrough. Yeah.
And because this is a live event, it means that you'll have access to ask the speakers questions and be able to interact with them.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you so much for having us, Sophie.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
If you love what you're hearing here on the podcast, make sure you follow, create, automate, and scale on your favorite listening platform and leave me a review. I would love to hear all your thoughts and questions. Be sure to tune in next week as we talk about traffic. Traffic is the #1 reason entrepreneurs quit. I don't want it to be you, and growing an audience is sort of my specialty, so you won't want to miss this. Make sure you check the show notes for special gifts to help you create, automate, and scale. See you next week, same place, same time.